Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our follow-up webinar for graduate students at the David Eccles School of Business. Today, my name, first of all, is Sheena McFarland. I am the Director of Marketing and Communications at the Eccles School. I am joined today by Danny Wall, Director of Specialized Master's Programs and an Associate Professor at the Eccles School. Also by Nate Zwart, Associate Director of Student Services for our fabulous graduate students, and Christina Strain, an Associate Director at International Student and Scholar Services at the University of Utah. We are here to answer your questions, and we want to make sure that we are addressing any concerns you have. Please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen to ask questions, and then we will answer them as they come. So please take the next.
An associate professor as well. Oh, there she is. Sheena, we have issues. Nate, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yep. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Nate Zwart. I'm the Associate Director of Student Services in the School of Accounting, and I work a little bit with our MSF program and Danny in particular. Thanks for taking the time to join us. Hopefully, we can get some questions answered. Give you some peace of mind for fall. Obviously, it's been kind of a roller coaster of a year, and there are some things that we know a little bit better than we did last time around. And there's still some things that are up in the air, and we're trying to work through everything as we go. But hopefully, if you've got, hopefully you've got some great questions for us, and we can get those answered. And if we don't have an answer, we're going to do what we can to get those out to you as soon as we can.
Thanks, Nate. And Sheena, sorry we lost you there for a second.
No, perfect timing for bad internet, as always. This is how we tell everyone that this is live. So
yeah. Christina, would you mind introducing yourself?
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Christina Strain. I am Associate Director at International Student and Scholar Services. So here to answer as much as I can, as much as we know about immigration questions. I'm sure a lot of you have a lot of questions with all of the changes that have happened. Most recently, the great news yesterday. But at the same time, I'm sure it brings up a lot more questions, which hopefully I'll be able to answer some of them. We don't have answers quite yet for everything, but we will do our best to get you those answers and figure out what we can do to make sure that you continue to be successful here.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Sheena, you may want to reintroduce yourself as you were kind of in and out, if that's
sure.
Okay.
No, many apologies. So my name is Sheena McFarland. I am the Director of Marketing and Communications here at the David Eccles School of Business. And I'm here to help answer questions and then also field any questions that you might have that we need to answer later. And we'll put that up on a Q&A page, which you can access on any of the Specialized Masters pages as a link to our previous webinar, and we'll have a link to this recording and questions and answers that have come up so that folks who can't join us live can watch that. Christina, I think the first question we have is for you. With international students, there are still questions, I think, surrounding if students are studying from home and from their home countries, are they still visa eligible? Does that affect their eligibility there? And B, does that impact their ability to receive scholarship from the school?
Yeah, that's a great question. So just overview of what happened in the past 24 hours, the guidance that was released at the beginning of this month. So it was released, I think, around July 6th or so. That guidance was officially rescinded. So what that means is we go back to the guidance that was previously in place before this July 6th guidance came out. So what that means is what we have been doing for the past spring and summer semester, we're reverting back to that. So the guidance for the past spring and summer semester has said that students who are currently active students are allowed to continue, first of all, continue their education and enrollment, but second of all, they're allowed to remain in the U.S. even though their school may be hybrid or online. So typically, international students can only take 3 credits online. So that is our normal standard operation. All students must remain full-time enrolled, which for undergrads it's 12 credits. Graduates is 9 credits or 3 theses. So out of those, only 3 of those credits are allowed to be online. But because of the COVID situation, the government has allowed students to take as many online classes as they need to fill that requirement. So you still need to be enrolled full-time. As a graduate student, that's 9 credits or 3 theses. That requirement has not changed. But what has changed is the ability to use online classes to count towards that full-time enrollment, to use more than 3 courses. So that guidance stays the same. And so what that means for continuing students is that, before in the last week or so, we were talking about needing to sign up for an in-person or hybrid course. That no longer is the case. So in order to enroll full-time to maintain your immigration, you just need to sign up for 9 credits. It doesn't matter if they're online, doesn't matter if they have hybrid or in-person components. We're back to the scenario where all of those will count towards your full-time immigration. If you are already out of the country, you can also keep your SEVIS record open by continuing to maintain your full-time enrollment. So for fall semester, that also means 9 credits or 12 credits as an undergraduate. Summer semester, everyone is allowed to be below full-time, so there wasn't as much of a restriction there either. But this coming fall, if you are outside of the country and you would like to keep your SEVIS record open, you also need to enroll in full-time courses. You also have the option to, if you're outside of the country, you can close your record. And if you don't, let's say you don't want to take full-time courses or you want to take the semester off, there are options. So please get in contact with us. ISSS will be reaching out to you in the next week or so to have all current students report their situation, so we understand, what your plans are, and then we can better advise you. Here's what, make sure you do this. If you are staying at home, here are your options for your SEVIS record. You could keep it open, you could close it. So be checking your email. You'll get an email. It will be in the form of an e-form that you'll report, what your plans are for fall semester. But as far as the general guidelines, under the new old guidelines, you are able to keep your SEVIS record open and be outside of the country studying online if you choose to do so.
And Christina, can you clarify, for maybe it's just for my benefit, but can you tell us what it means what are the ramifications of keeping your SEVIS record open? Does that mean that you basically maintain all the benefits of your visa if you were,
yes,
as if you were in the country?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. And in many ways, closing your record is not necessarily a negative thing, because you can always reopen a record to return, and ISSS can help you with that. And it's not a difficult process at all. So we would often advise students to close their record if they say to us, I'm not sure I'm going to come back next semester. I may need another semester, because what closing your record does is give you a little bit more flexibility. So you can come back essentially whenever you wish. But keeping your record open makes it easy to you can come back in on that same I-20. You retain your immigration benefits. The main benefits you retain are those work authorization, right? Because you have to have 2 full-time semesters to qualify for work authorization. So if you come back, you're coming back on an initial I-20, which means you're immigration-wise an initial student. So some of those benefits are a little bit different, but every student situation is going to be different. And if you have questions, our advisors can talk you through what that would mean for you. So definitely reach out to us.
And then is the university, as a program, can we still offer the same scholarship and financial aid packages for students who are in their home countries?
Yeah, so there is no immigration restriction for that at all.
Okay.
So that's up to each department to work it out with the university, how they want to do payment. But as far as immigration and our office is concerned, that's not a problem. There's no restrictions there.
Thank you. And then Sheena, I think the posted question, uh, for those of you who may not know this, Sheena is also part of the university's committee that is looking at ideas and plans for bringing students back to campus. So this next question is looking for more insight into the hybrid class model that we're going to be using during fall. Sheena, would you mind walking us through the various course options or offerings that the U has designed?
Absolutely. So, and let's hope my internet connection holds. So, there are 4 types of courses being offered in the fall, and on the schedule, it'll say very clearly what mode of instruction is being offered. The first one is in person, which is a class on campus with social distancing rules followed, but you will be on campus in a classroom with the instructor in front of you. There is the hybrid, which is some on campus and then some remote learning. So that might be if it's a Monday, Wednesday class, maybe Mondays are in person in the classroom and Wednesdays are then done over Zoom or over Canvas somehow or some other mode of instruction that way. There is also IVC, which is interactive video conferencing. And that is a situation where you are in your own home watching the classroom, but you are doing it at a set time. So your classes meet, Tuesday, Thursday from 9:10 to 10:30. Then that's when you would turn on your Zoom class and interact with your fellow classmates and your professor. And then there is online, and online is asynchronous, which means that there are not set times that you need to be attending class and that you need to just the information will be available for you and you'll watch potentially pre-recorded lectures, that kind of thing, and move at your own pace a little bit more. There are likely going to be assignments due on specific days and tests on specific days, but it's up to you to get through that material in time for that on your own schedule. As far as the hybrid class model is largely going to be up to individual professors, how they want to do that. Kind of the general guidelines are, again, having it where it can be split on different days, where if you have a multiple day in a week that you're meeting, then maybe Mondays are in class and Wednesdays are away. Often too, if there are a lot of students in the classroom and a classroom can only socially distance 30 students at a time, but there are 60 enrolled, then maybe 30 students show up on Monday in person and the other 30 are online, and then it swaps for the Wednesday. So there will be more information available on the syllabuses for each of your courses, and those should be available. Those usually start coming out a couple of weeks before classes start, but individual professors will have that. I do know there's a lot of push to make sure that during the time of COVID that there is accessible information for students who are not able to make it to class. If you are feeling ill or not feeling well, please stay home. Professors are working really hard to make sure that you have access to the coursework so that you won't fall behind because of that. But we definitely want to keep everyone safe and healthy as much as possible.
And I'll add, so they also added a hybrid IVC category, which I think, Nate, remind me, this is a combination of kind of hybrid and then synchronous Zoom learning. And
That's correct.
And that's so, for example, that's the way I've set up my courses. The reason I set them up that way is it seems to provide kind of maximum flexibility for students and faculty. And just to add a little bit of color to what Sheena said, I'll tell you what I'm planning to do this fall with the courses that I'm teaching. I am planning to basically give students who wish to be on campus the option to be on campus, students who wish to participate from home the option to participate from home. In other words, I'm not sure that you'll be forced to come to campus unless you specifically take one of those in-person classes that mandates on-campus participation. I would anticipate your faculty to be relatively flexible. And I really want to emphasize what Sheena said. If you are ill, it doesn't matter if you think you have allergies or a cold, there will be no penalty for not coming to class. Stay home, participate. The other thing is every single class, whether it's in person or online, will be recorded, and the recordings of those classes will be posted to Canvas. So you have multiple options. If you are ill, you can participate in via Zoom live, unless you're taking a fully online class. Or if you're, if you're ill, you could go back and watch those recordings once
And,
once you're feeling up to it.
and I think one thing I'll add too is, in general, communicate with your faculty. If you're not going to be attending class, if you are feeling ill, anything, make sure you're reaching out to them so that they're on the same page in terms of how to best serve you and how to best help you in terms of that making up of lost class time.
And our faculty are fairly flexible anyway, even under normal circumstances. And I think you'll find that, if you go to your faculty member and you say, hey, I live with someone who's in a high risk category, is it okay if I participate from home? The answer is probably going to be yes. I don't, nobody wants to cause any sort of pain and suffering here. So, all right. What other questions can we answer for you?
It looks like there's a question about more SEVIS, and this would probably be a great question for Christina to take. Would you like me to read that aloud, Christina?
Yeah, that'd be.
Okay. So the question is, do I need to activate my SEVIS with ISSS if I am already in the U.S. with an H-4 visa status and not converting to F1 before spring semester? I am planning to start on H-4 status in fall and then move to F1 in the spring.
Okay, that's a great question. This question is the same, even not in light of the COVID situation. If you are not, if you're not planning to start on your F1 until spring in fall, and you're planning on being on your H4 for fall, you don't activate your SEVIS record until, well, I guess the first thing is that ISSS is the one who activates your record. So we will not activate your record until you've actually been approved for the new visa. And then your record won't start until spring. So for fall, you shouldn't have to worry about your SEVIS record if you're staying on your H4. But what I probably would recommend to this student is to come make an appointment with one of our advisors, because there's a lot of specifics here, a lot more questions we might ask. Usually with a change of status, we want to know, have you mailed in your documents for your change of status? Are you planning on leaving the country to do your change of status that way? So those are some questions our advisor may ask you to help give a little bit more specific advice for your situation. But in general, we don't activate your record until you actually start on the F1 visa. So for this fall, if you're not going to be on the F1 visa, your SEVIS record should not be activated. So that's kind of a general answer to that question. But for more specifics, I would recommend making an appointment with our office.
Awesome. Thanks, Christina. I can take this next one here, Danny.
Yep, go ahead.
So the question is, with hybrid plus IVC classes, if one decides to not go on to campus, would one be able to participate and ask questions as classes in session? And the answer to that in general is yes. Any class that's listed as IVC, that's interactive video conferencing. So think of that as like live streaming, or like what we're doing here through Zoom. That class will be a live lecture. If it's listed as IVC plus hybrid, it means that you, depending on your faculty member, as Danny mentioned, you will be able to attend in person if classroom space allows. But in addition, you'll be able to participate via the IVC channel from home, whether you're feeling sick or you're not comfortable coming to class and you're wanting to maintain even more social distance, or if you've got somebody or yourself who's at risk. That is kind of the IVC plus hybrid is kind of the most versatile experience for a student because it kind of checks all the boxes. You can go in person if you'd like, you can watch the recorded lectures after the fact, or you can participate via the live stream. Danny, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that.
Yeah, I would just make sure that, I just want to reiterate what Nate said earlier. Just communicate with your faculty. Make sure that they know what they know who you are and what you're planning to do, and uh, and you'll be fine. So some faculty members might have certain stipulations for studying from home. You may be able to provide more information on this, but what we've been told is that students are, well, Sheena, I'm going to let you take this one. Are students, could students be forced to come to campus? What's the university saying on that?
That's a great question. I think that from everything that I've been hearing, there is very little push to force students onto campus. I know that there are some courses in maybe some of the hard sciences or that kind of thing where they need a lab, and that's maybe a little bit of a different situation, but that would be the student actively registering for an in-person class for that experience. As far as having that be IVC or hybrid, my understanding is that the university is really working to try and provide the most flexibility for students. And again, trying to make sure that we're not forcing anyone to an uncomfortable situation. So everything that I'm hearing is saying professors are going to work really hard to be as flexible as they can be, and making sure that you are able to, as a student, access that information in a way that is safe and comfortable for you. And I hear very few professors putting up a fight about that. I think that they are all in the same place where they care about their students, want to make sure everyone is having a good experience. And so again, reiterating what everyone is saying is just talk with your faculty member. I think that people will be very reasonable and understanding at this time. And of course, even if you're studying from home, there are still deadlines you need to meet and those kinds of things. So make sure that you're still doing your great studious work as you are moving through the semester. But we can absolutely accommodate that ability to be home. And again, just make sure you are registering for classes that work for what your situation might entail. If you are more comfortable being home, please sign up for the online or the IVC or IVC hybrid classes.
Thanks, Sheena, and I'll go ahead and take this next question. Will professors have office hours to speak with students online, or times to meet with questions about classes with the different class setups? So I anticipate professors will still hold office hours. There will probably be a virtual component to that. There will be a virtual component to that unless it's a completely in-person class. And frankly, at the business school, I don't think, at the grad level anyway, we don't have very many, if any, completely in-person classes. So the answer is yes, you will be able to correspond with your professors. I know that some professors will, for example, those who are holding completely online classes are going to be holding weekly live webinars that you can attend. Some professors are going to be holding office hours via Zoom. We've even had professors this summer ask if they could hold kind of tutoring sessions on campus, which we have not been able to accommodate, but my hunch is that some professors will even hold tutoring sessions via Zoom. And we're trying to hire, given the circumstances, we're trying to hire additional TAs for a lot of our courses, and we're hoping that most of those TAs will probably have taken the course previously. So there may even be opportunities to work with TAs on questions and concerns. So the answer to that is yes, you will have full access to your faculty members. The only difference is that the interaction may be virtual rather than in person.
Great. I think we have answered all of the questions that have come in. I think here's another one coming in. Great. So keep those questions coming using the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen, and we are here to answer those questions.
Christina, I think this is a good one for you. It's back to the H4 visa question. Do I need to follow health insurance requirements and MMR vaccine requirements while on H4 while living outside of the state of Utah for the fall semester? Or will I only be required to fulfill those requirements after COS is approved in the spring semester? Christina, oh, there you are.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
That's a great question. I'm not entirely sure on the answer to this one because the student health office is the one that would probably be the one to best answer this question. Our office, we really only advise on the F1 and the J1 visa. So H4 is kind of out of our purview in terms of advising with immigration. So I would direct you to Carrie Hill in the Student Health Center because she handles all of the international related questions, and she would be able to answer, yeah, if this vaccine requirement would be needed. So Carrie Hill at the Student Health, if you send her an email, that usually she just asks that students send her emails with their questions, so she should be able to help you with that.
Is that Carrie with a K?
Kerry.
All right. Sheena, would you mind just looking her up in the directory and posting her email address if you can find it? Nate, yeah. I think this next question is a good one for you.
So that's a great question. So how long does it take to process a deferment request and the last date to defer for fall? So I guess if we're talking in terms of deferring enrollment, so say you were admitted to the Master of Accounting program and now you're kind of thinking, ooh, you know what, I'm going to hold off. I'm going to wait to start until spring and I'm not going to attend any classes this fall. If that's what the question is referring to, I believe it's right up until the beginning of the semester. I can double check with Regina on that, who runs our admissions. I'm not positive on the set date, but in general, in terms of how long it takes to process that, if you've already been admitted to the program, it's as simple as emailing. We want to see some sort of written documentation that you want to defer. And you can email the coordinator, the admission coordinator that you were working with. If you're in the MSIS program or MSBA, I would reach out to Kaylee Miller. If you're in the MSF or MAC program, reach out to Regina Mavis. Actually, I take that back. Thank you, Lauren. Lauren just chatted, and it looks like the deferment date is it's the add drop deadline for the fall semester. So that's actually 2 weeks, like 2 weeks into the semester, 3 weeks in. You can look at the academic calendar for that. Thanks.
However, Lauren. I would just pay attention to certain classes, if they're on an accelerated schedule, the drop deadlines are earlier. So
that's correct.
I would try to have it done before the semester. I would try to make that decision before the semester starts if you can, only because we don't want you to have to, we don't want you to have the university to bill you for classes that you don't end up taking. So this next question.
It looks like the Sheena put the deferment info in the chat there as well, so folks can click on that if you're curious.
Yeah. The next question is a good question that I don't think I have a great answer for. Sheena, Nate, Christina, if any of you know more about this, please chime in. But my understanding is that the tuition, the pricing model or the tuition model has not changed.
Yes, I've also heard though that the university is removing the online class fee for online courses. That $60 fee with that. So I know
$60. Yeah, was it 60 per credit hour? But that's only for fully online courses, right?
As far as I know, yes.
So for IVC classes, I don't think the university has changed their pricing model in the way that they're going to bill tuition.
Right. So. And I don't know for the IVC classes that they would have charged that $60 anyway. So
no.
Yeah, so I think we're kind of at the same place that for online courses they've removed that fee. So hopefully that kind of answers the question. I know that we're still gathering more information on that, but we will find that info and post it in our FAQ page for sure.
I'm actually as of right now, I'm certain that they haven't changed the pricing model. That doesn't mean that they won't, but as of right now, we haven't heard anything about that.
One question while we're just waiting for another question to roll in here, Regina. I'm curious if you could maybe post the link in the chat in terms of where that FAQ page lives. We've been trying to direct students there. The business school is trying to update information on there as regularly as we get it. And I know the International Student Scholar Services Office, they have a really robust FAQ page for frequently asked questions for our international students. I would imagine that that's probably getting updated as we speak, if it isn't already. But there's lots of really good information out there for students. If you get on the university's webpage, there's a lot of good information out there.
And I guess, I'm sure that you have been following the news, but to give a little perspective on what's happened, last week Trump kind of dropped the big immigration bomb on us, which was which you're all, if you're an international student, you're certainly aware of what that was. So ISSS was scrambling, from my understanding, Christina, you were scrambling to update your FAQ page in your website and to go live with better, more updated information. And then yesterday it was all rescinded. So my hunch is you were probably about to go live with something, and you've spent a ton of time over the weekend working like crazy, and then you didn't have to really update as much as you thought you would.
Yep, that's absolutely correct. But you know what? We are happy with the result, and we're happy to do that to support our students, and we're glad that we didn't have to go down that road. So we are, this week playing catch up and trying to get as much new information out as possible, and plan for plan B for fall. But I would just say to international students, keep checking your email. We'll be sending you updates as we get them ready, and we should have more information out soon.
Absolutely, and ISSS has done a great job keeping this updated. I just sent a link in the chat to ISS's page that has an update just from July 14th with all the new information. So there's great information there. I also put links in our chat for everybody to the Eccles graduate student FAQ page, and then to the information for all students, which is returntocampus.utah.edu, that has great updated information from the university as a whole, with everything from face covering requirements to what to expect from classes to a whole bunch of other information. So please do check out those pages. I am not seeing any more questions coming in, so I'm thinking—
Sheena, I have a question, and it looks like we may have just lost Christina. Is President Watkins still holding her webinar on Friday?
That is a great question. I believe that she is. I can double check that right now. So let me look at that.
I haven't seen an update, but I would encourage especially international students to, if in fact it's still on, which I think it is, to participate in that webinar on Friday. I think the webinar was originally designed to address the new immigration policies that were rescinded yesterday, but I think that they'll still take the time to answer any questions and provide as much information as they can. So.
Yep, I don't have information different from that, so we can put that out there. But
yeah, keep an eye on your emails, I guess. If I don't think they'll cancel it, but I guess if they do, just keep an eye on your email.
Absolutely.
And I've got one more question, Sheena. We've got a couple students asking via the advisors where this video will live, and where they can seek that out, and for our advisors where we can kind of forward students to.
Absolutely. So in the chat, I have the FAQ page for graduate students at the Eccles School, And then I have the link. That is where this video will live with FAQs. And that is on the top, at a little strip on the top of every Specialized Master's Program webpage that says, I can read it to you right now. It says, what does it say? What graduate students can expect for fall 2020, read FAQs here. And so at the very top of every Specialized Master's page, it is there. We will have this, I'll get this video transcribed so we can pull out the Q&A and add that in, and then we'll get that posted so students can watch and then also read through the questions that we've addressed here. So, yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
And then Christina, do you know if we don't have confirmation on this, but Friday's webinar with Chelsea and Ruth and Dan and other leadership, is that still happening?
From my understanding, that is still happening.
Okay.
I haven't heard otherwise, so
And then
I'm
there
sure
was
that there's much to still address.
Okay. And then there was a request in chat for a link to that webinar. Does anyone know where to find that?
I think I could pull that up.
Let's see. I was hoping it was on the...
Yeah, I thought it went out via email, but
It did go out. It did go out through email.
We will we'll find that and hopefully here get it posted. Are there any additional questions that we can answer?
It looks like we've addressed all of them. So yeah, so at this point, we will share some information out on that, again, that link for where this webinar will live with FAQs. And if you have any other further questions, please do reach out to your advisors or admissions folks or anyone that you work with at the Specialized Master's Programs. They'll be able to help you, and we will get that information out to you as quickly as we can. Okay. All right, well, thank you so much all for your time, and thank you for attending today, and I hope that we were able to answer a lot of your questions, and please keep those coming as we're getting closer to the school year, and we look forward to welcoming you back to class, if that's over the internet or in classrooms or whatever that looks like, but we're excited to start fall semester with everyone. So thank you all again.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
thanks.